Hey guys, I just pulled up to get some photos and I thought I'd give you a little update on the Subaru. So you can probably see straight away I've fitted the wheels that I was talking about in the last video. So they're all fitted. Try and take you around so I can get the colour quite nice. They look black in some lights, but then in other lights you do get the brown coming through, which is quite nice. Obviously when the sun hits them they look even better. But I kind of like the way they look without the sun anyway, but it's just like the odd day when it's sunny they look amazing. The brown really shines, they look completely different, but that's probably my fault for painting my winter wheels in a colour that looks great in the sun. So that's one of the changes to the outside. I also picked up these when I got the wheels. Person selling basically for a tiny bit extra, he gave me a whole box full of Subaru parts. Some of them fit this car, others don't. These fitted and they were quite a quick swap because all I had to do was get some clear or silver bulbs which flash orange. I don't know if you can really see the bulbs, I'll try and focus a bit better. There we go. Which they just clean up the sides a bit, they just take away the orange. I've still got the orange ones here because the ones I've got are for a pre-facelift, so I'll chuck them up on eBay. Same with a few other parts and probably have enough to swap those over, but I'm going to put these in and paint these when I do a few other modifications to the bumper. So nothing much really. Obviously the wheels quite a big change to the outside, but nothing major. I've also done a few smaller jobs under the bonnet, nothing amazing, but I thought I'd just talk you through those. So I'll just put you down there, I'll just open the bonnet. Yeah. So the first thing I've done is cleaned out the boost control solenoid, which is just here. It's basically an electric clip there and two vacuum lines here. So what this does, it basically tells the wastegate actuator when to open, so it monitors the boost pressure and just keeps everything, stops you from running over boost and just keeps everything in check. So what I've done, I've took these vacuum lines off here, unbolted it, and then you basically use some brake and clutch cleaner, spray that through there, spray it through the lines and just get rid of all the gunk just to keep it working properly. I've also tightened up the alternator belt, or the power steering belt. It basically runs between two. There's a bit of a squeal coming from it on full lock in the morning, so just give it a bit of a tighten to take some of the slack out. So all you do is unclip this bolt, which takes this cover off, and then if you can see this bolt just here and the head there, you loosen this off, which allows you to adjust the angle, and then tighten this bolt up, which basically just changes the angle and takes the slack out. So really quick simple fix. So nothing major, the engine still looks pretty much the same as last time, but just a few little minor fixes. Okay, so the other thing I've done, which I thought I'd tell you about, is I've booked my first track day. So I've driven on track once before, but in a mate's car, and basically on a sprint track. So you, instead of taking laps, you drive from one part of the track to another and you timed over that course. The car wasn't in the best condition, it had some terrible rear tyres, so it was all over the place, and it was my mate's car, so I didn't really get a chance to drive properly. But I've been meaning to do one in my own car for a while, but just never had the car or been in the right situation to do it. So I've finally bit the bullet and decided to take this one on track. I've got a few bits and bobs I need to do first before it goes on to track. So I'd like to change the front and rear brake pads. I'd also like to change the brake fluid just to stop anything from overheating. Obviously when you're on track you stress the car out a bit more, especially the braking, so I don't want to get any brake fade going into the corners when I heat up the fluid. So I'll basically replace it with some fluid that's got a higher boiling temperature, and that'll just basically work better on track. Obviously that fluid can be used on the road as well as the track. One sec, I'll just let this car come past. So yeah, I'm going to change the brake fluid over, change the pads. The discs are still in quite good condition and they're decent discs, so they'll be okay on track. Also, I'm going to do an oil change, which to be fair I was going to do anyway, but I'll just make a point of doing it a little bit early before I take it onto track, just to make sure everything's in good running condition. Other than that, I'd like to make a GoPro mount, so what I want is to make a mount somehow to show you this whilst I'm driving, or maybe even a bit more of that so you can see me turning. Obviously I could mount it up onto the grab handles. I can't use suction cups on any of the windows because they've been banned at the track I'm going to. So the other option I've got is this, which is basically the boot cover. But I've got a second one at home. The last one I had, one of the little clips broke on it, so I got a new one. And what I'm thinking is I can basically, this bit here, sorry about all the mess in the boot, but I can take this bit off, which basically if I take these clips off here, it'll roll in and I can fit a roll cage mount onto there and have the camera pointing like that, which it'll look a bit different with the GoPro. You'll probably get a bit more of that sort of angle, but I think that'll look quite nice on track. So that's one of my options, but I do need to do a bit of work to do that, but I think that'll look great. So, like I said earlier, this will be my first proper track day. I have done the sprint day in my mate's car, and I've been a passenger a couple of times at a few tracks, but I've never driven my own car for a long period on track with other cars. So what I've done, I've booked into a novice track day, which basically it's run in sessions instead of an open pit lane. Everybody there will have done probably fewer than 3 track days, so everyone will be quite new to it. There won't be too much pressure. I'm sure there'll be some fast cars, I'm sure there'll be some slower cars, but everyone there will hopefully be in the same boat and it won't be too aggressive, or I won't feel like I'm in too many people's way until I've got used to the track, which I think is great. I don't want to feel like I'm holding people up or anything. So the track I've gone for is Cadwell Park, which is a great track. It's nicknamed the Mini Nürburgring, sorry I can't pronounce that. So it's, as you can guess, it's got loads of elevation changes, tight corners. It's a very tight track. There's some sections where there's not much runoff at all. You are very close to barriers, but it's not a dull track. It's not like a flat airfield track where you never get any change of elevation. It is very interesting. I'll put up a picture of the map of the track just so I can talk through a few sections, but it's got some very fast corners, some flowing bends, it's got hairpins, it's got chicanes, it's got tight corners, so it's got a mixture of everything really. There's some long straights which will be good to test speed, but also a good chance to let people faster past, but then it's got some nice technical sections so I can really get the most out of the car and really get a feel for it. So that's going to be great. I'm also going to do an instruction session, so basically I mean 20 minutes out with an instructor who will know the track and will be able to sort of show me the right lines, tell me if I can carry more speed through a corner, and just give me some feedback on my driving, because it's a great chance to learn really. So that'll be great. So yeah, on the day I'll probably fill up with petrol beforehand. I don't know if they'll sell 99 RON petrol at the track or if there'll be a Shell, Tesco's, something close where I can get petrol. I might have to take a jerry can with some fuel, but I'm hoping not to have to carry too much because there's no pit garages. It's more like a grass car park from what I've seen in photos, so I don't want to be leaving too many tools or too many desirable things whilst I'm out on track, obviously. So yeah, the other thing is, I spoke about cameras before. I've looked into the terms and conditions and they do say on one part that cameras like GoPros etc are banned, on another part it says you can't use suction cups. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make sure it's very securely mounted, just so when the marshals do the scrutinising of the cars, if they play around with it, they'll be able to tell it's not going anywhere. and cross my fingers. So hopefully I managed to get some footage on track. I probably won't film the first lap out, well the first session out and the instruction session, just because I don't want to be thinking about the camera then. I want to be first learning the track, and second I want to be learning as much as possible in those 20 minutes. But what I will do is, once I'm used to the track and once I've done the instruction session, I will do a couple of laps where I'll film all of the session and take footage from the best laps and just talk a bit about how I felt and what I was doing, what I'd learned, etc. So fingers crossed the cameras won't be a problem. I'd also like to get some footage in the pits of some of the other cars, but again I don't know what I'll be able to get, what I won't, so I'll leave that for now and just see how that goes. So yeah, I'll also try and put up some pictures of the track just now, just so you can get an idea of how tight, technical and how little of a runoff this track is. I mean, if you look at the map as well, from turn 1 to turn 10 and 11 there's only a barrier separating you, and that's literally a thin slither of grass, so it is going to be a difficult track. I mean, I'm not going to be going on like a hero. I know that I am an amateur when it comes to things like this. I'm not going to be pushing my car fully 10 tenths because it is a daily driver. If I had a dedicated track car, I'd feel a lot more comfortable pushing it around some of the corners, but in the same breath I think being on a track with people who are all focusing on driving and people who are hopefully driving to a decent standard is probably safer than the roads. I mean, there's not much of a runoff here, but on quite a lot of the roads that I drive there's even less of a runoff, sometimes in worse scenarios, because instead of some Armco that's designed to be crashed into, there might be rocks, trees, ditches. So in some ways, as silly as it sounds, it's probably safer than a lot of the driving I do normally, which I would consider to be safe. So yeah, there we go. So before I leave this video, I just want to let you know the track day's booked for 2 months time from this video being posted. So around late March I've got 2 months just to get the car, it's in good running order, but just to get it prepared to a decent standard for me to take it out onto a track. Also, like I said, to get a decent way of mounting a camera. Between then I'll probably post a couple of videos of me doing various jobs on the car. I've also got another motorsport related event coming up, which I'll keep a secret for now, but definitely keep an eye out because I'm sure that's going to be a great video. Yeah, but other than that, I'll catch you guys soon.